I think what it will do is certainly alleviate and help people that are up for renewal, people that are looking at refinancing to consolidate debt that are up this year, because there are so many people that have their mortgages coming due this year that have that, that unsecured debt or car payments that they're looking at just rolling in. And with these rate drops, it makes it more feasible or attainable for consolidate that debt in.
You're listening to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast, your go-to source for all things Canadian real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Paul Stevenson and David Warren. Hello, and welcome back to the Ottawa Real Estate Podcast. My name is Paul Stevenson. I am a mortgage agent, level 2, and I'm joined, as always, by David Warren, owner of Referral Mortgages and a mortgage agent, level 2. And we're very pleased today. We're joined by a special guest, the expert of the Valley, the king of coffee, the mayor of Carleton Place, not officially. Kevin Cosgrove is here with us today. Kevin, how are you doing? David, how are you doing?
I'm good, boys. I'm good. I have actually a bone to pick with your son Jackson about that nickname. That is my nickname. And when he went in Fuego in the playoffs last year, they called him the mayor of Carleton Place, and I was like, that's trademark. I'm excited to talk about meme coins with you guys. That's the key, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're here to pump the market as usual. Pump and dump, meme coins. So lots to talk about today. First and foremost, March 4th. So this will come out tomorrow, but the tariffs officially take effect today. So very interested to see how that's going to impact the market. Rates especially. I think this is, in my opinion, definitely going to force the hand of the Bank of Canada to do something. Likely a quarter point, if not a half point, is kind of what they're kind of pricing in now. And fixed rates, we've seen bond rates. I haven't looked this morning. I will look quickly. Maybe, David, you can take a quick glance. But bond rates have been kind of slowly coming down over the last few weeks. So we've seen fixed rates decline slightly as well. And I would guess that this is probably going to amplify that also. So all these things considered, I think between the three of us, we can all agree that the market, listeners may not agree, but we've all been very busy the last 2 months. Kevin, I know talking to Dave yesterday that you're on pace to have a very, one of your record years. And, we're seeing lots of offers going in, lots of properties coming across our plates for people putting in offers. And with lowered rates coming, a lot of buyers kind of stepping on the field. I don't know if the tariffs are really going to slow much down for real estate. What do you guys think?
I mean, certainly the kind of in the news from a rate decision March 12th from the Bank of Canada, the odds are of a quarter point drop. There are a number of economists and other, esteemed mortgage professionals, Ron Butler, et cetera, that are very much in the know, kind of expecting a half point drop even from the Bank of Canada. Again, how that impacts the real estate market from a purchasing standpoint. I think that's to be seen. Every time we expect or think that the market's going to, amplify with a rate drop, the first rate drop 6 changes ago, we thought it was going to, just be like a flood, which wasn't the case, but it's certainly been a gradual uptick in activity. So I am curious to see how that changes things. I think what it will do is certainly alleviate and help people that are up for renewal, people that are looking at refinancing to consolidate debt that are up this year, because there are so many people that have their mortgages coming due this year that have that, that unsecured debt or car payments that they're looking at just rolling in. And with these rate drops, it makes it more feasible or attainable to consolidate that debt in. When you're looking at the mid 6s and 6% fixed rates, it doesn't really make sense to, in a lot of cases, to roll your unsecured debt in a lot, but or break your mortgage. Whereas with any additional decrease from the Bank of Canada will, I think, help those people that are looking to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. We from our perspective, we talk often about, buyer confidence, right? And that's that ultimately drives a lot of our conversations on the buying side. And right now we have a lot of inventory, right? We're heavy inventory in Ottawa. We've got one group that's looking sub 750 detached townhome, in that price range. There's lots. Anyway, they're at the point where their portal keeps maxing out at over 250 options, right? So and now they're citywide. They're they're open to rural, they're open to where leads. Like it's kind of beyond the green belt, so to speak, right? But that, I'd say like we wouldn't have these kind of options years ago, right? So lots of sellers out there looking to kind of achieve things. I think most of them too are selling first, and then hopefully having backup plans of where to go if they don't find something that's great, or if they're just looking to move areas, or go up one level in a house and it's a predictable next step. We're seeing a lot of people list first and buy after. So I think that's kind of why we have so much inventory, is we have all these buyers out there just with houses to sell. Tariff talk, it's tricky, right? We had the delay and the pause, I guess, whatever the first time, but I would have said at the start of the year that we were, primed for probably a pretty good year of who knows what prices, that kind of, I guess the interest rates kind of sometimes control that, but I thought we would have a good activity year, right? Lots of buying and selling, lots of transactions, maybe a balanced market, which would be healthy for everybody. But right now it's kind of seems like there's a bit of a pause. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see how these actual tariffs impact everything.
What do you, when you're speaking to your clients, and I know you've got a wide breadth of clients from out of town to, like we talked about, kind of in the valley to people in the city, every type of property. What are you suggesting to people when you're talking to them about, buy first, list first, kind of what's your typical strategy in that regard when you're kind of setting that in order to set them up for success?
Yeah, if they have to do both ends of the equation, right? It's like we like to bring you guys in as early as possible, right? Because that's critical. But high level is, sit down with Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and they say they want to, move from a townhouse to a single family home. And it's not nuanced. Like it's not waterfront. It's not like a farm, whatever. So I would suggest let's go and see some places that would fit your boat, right? Just go see them, see where we're at. If there's 10 out there that are in our general price range, and if they're in a position where they have to sell, like they can't carry both, they can't be in a risky situation, then we would discuss the merits of selling first, right? Like, do we list your place knowing that there's 5 or 6 out there, 10 out there, whatever that would suit you guys? Let's tie up this loose end. And then buy very quickly, in the same context, same breath, if you will, of selling their house so that their purchasing power doesn't erode. But then the conversation on that always is the risk is, it won't be a financial risk, but it could be a risk of where are they going to live if they don't find place, right? Yeah, so do they have family to live with? Maybe renting was working backwards. So again, these are the kind of conversations that we're having with people that have to buy and sell. And now if they have a ton of equity in their home, a very marketable product, we might discuss either a condition. Now, firstly, if we can get a first refusal, like a condition of sale, that is primarily the best option. It just may not be overly attainable as sellers don't like that condition. But I guess the other end of the spectrum is if they're looking for a very nuanced property, so say they're moving from generic townhouse or generic single family home, they want to be on the water or a rural setting, or there's something really unique, has to have an in-law suite in the basement with its own back entrance, or has to be a walkout. Those might be scenarios where we're discussing, well, we won't want to sell your house. It doesn't really matter what we sell it for, and be so boxed into, maybe the 1 or 2 options citywide that would suit you next. So in those contexts where it's a really specific search, we might say let's call and Dave, let's have a chat about what our options are. If we do find said dream home, what kind of long closing conditions do we need or date do we need? And what's our equity options? Do we have enough equity in this house to carry both places for a spell if we don't sell? We want to mitigate risk, but in a sense, sometimes the risk is that you don't end up with the house on the other end too, right? So it just depends on what they're looking for. So those are the conversations we're having. And it really does, stem from a financial equity conversation. So bring you guys in early is great because there's always backup plans. We always try to think, okay, obviously best case scenario, put a long closing date on property X. We got to sell your property Y. Hopefully we can make everything happen in the interim. But if we don't, let's have that tough conversation on the onset. What are our backup plans? What's it going to cost us? Is it going to cost us 10 grand to carry both places for a month and a half with some private equity? Maybe, but maybe that's okay. Maybe they're fine with that. And as long as they know that going in, then at least the conversation's been had, everything's been kind of, planned. But so typically, yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah. In this market where there's a bit more balance that we have both ends to achieve, that we definitely work on that. And then if they're coming from out of town, oftentimes, in my case with this group that I have coming in, they're all renting. A lot of them are renting, so they're going to be buying their first house in our market. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier. They're coming from a rental, less ends to tie up. They're just buying. And then we have a ton of military, right, coming in also this spring. So they will have their house for sale on their end. We'll be talking to their agents, in kind of Ottawa, Toronto, et cetera, making sure that, their house is in shape, it's sold, it's listed, and then they come down here on their house hunting trip and they, hopefully have everything tied up.
Yeah, relocations, I guess, like March to May, right? Kind of in that.
Yeah, we're starting to, we have a bunch scheduled for April. I think we have 3 or 4 booked in April already. And then we have 3 or 4 that are coming out, I guess, that are getting transferred out. We'll be listing their places also.
I was going to say, for both of you are in Carleton Place, and so you probably both see it, but what are you seeing from an activity standpoint? Back during COVID, I know Carleton Place was, deemed as the fastest growing township in or city, or I think it was town, because it's not I don't think you can classify it as a city, but
growing community in Canada. Yeah.
But have you seen, that was during COVID, during that period, there was a lot of building, and I know there are a number of projects and developments, slated in Carleton Place, and there's still kind of growth, but are you still seeing a flurry of activity and growth within Carleton Place, and that continued interest in CP for like both of you? I know Paul, you only just recently moved there, but
yeah, I'll talk quickly because Kevin can probably expand on this much better. But it just based on the community groups that I'm a part of. A lot of people always just moved to town, just got here, just moving to CP, thinking about moving to CP. So it seems like there is still a lot of interest. I think Carleton Place is kind of the pinnacle of small town Canada. It's close to Ottawa. It's close to Costco. It's close to Perth, close to Smith Falls, close to Almont. Like, it's close to everything, but still kind of its own thing. So I think there's a lot of charm, a lot of allure here that draws people in. And if you talk to anyone from town, you don't hear too many negative things. So I think there's still that draw to Carleton Place. But from a growth standpoint, I mean, there's still a lot of homes, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, but a lot of the new builds are still sitting. Some of them, in my opinion, aren't the best designed. I did look at a few of them when I was coming to town, and they're super narrow, like hard to kind of envision the living space as functional. And I think that was, these were built during kind of the end of COVID. But something else to consider is a lot of those people that moved out here in 2020, 2021, those people are coming up for renewal now, right, in that kind of typical 3 to 5 year cycle. So we're seeing a lot of those people looking at potentially either moving back into the city or maybe kind of doing a lateral move within town to, upgrading or downgrading to a different property.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I still feel the demand for our town. And I think there's like a couple of different buckets of it, but I'm with you on some of these new builds that are sitting out there. Every time I onboard a new buyer, there's like 5 or 6 houses that have been sitting, for, many months that I have to show it to them. Let's start the party here. And they're new builds for $730,000, 4-bedroom, detached homes and 2-car garage. And again, I'm with you on some of the design choices, maybe, but like at the same time, it's like, we're in a housing crisis, and like these houses are fine. They're brand freaking new, right? Like they're Terry-on warranted. I think the upstairs of them, like the second floor, is a 10 on 10. There's an ensuite bathroom. There's 4 good sized bedrooms, another full bathroom and laundry. And it's like, I don't know if I could ask for much more on a second floor if I tried. And sure, maybe the main floor has like some nuances, some design challenges. Maybe they could benefit from staging or doing something to sort of walk people through how you could sort of get around some design stuff. But like at the end of the day, it's like for $730,000, like this is like housing, right? And so anyways, so it is interesting that on one hand, we're growing and it's, and it's super in demand, but at the same time, there's something sitting. So there's another builder that my wife and I are maybe considering doing ourselves as an option. We're thinking about maybe we're at a century home right now with 3 young kids, 3 bedrooms. It's like, it's got its challenges, but we're thinking maybe a new build would help us achieve like a finished basement, that 4th bedroom, et cetera. I mean, my tops and trays, I keep buying 3-bedroom homes and I wonder why they're too small. Anyway, so they're releasing their next phase this spring, and I'm super curious to see how this goes. Like they're all singles. It's the 3rd phase of the development, Spee Shores. And we're keen to see how, and I think it'll be telling, maybe it'll show something, one way or the other about how in demand we are on the new build side. On our listing side, things are creeping up. Days on market, for a single family home are just up over 30 days now. Townhomes a little bit quicker. I think, if I had to describe the activity in Carleton Place, I'd say basically if you're under $600,000, you're borderline bidding war, multiple offers, quick, right? And then if you're sitting between 6 and 7, that's probably a nice townhouse, right? Like that's a nice townhouse. There's not a ton of detached in that price point, so those might sit just a little longer, but eventually sell. And then over 7 is interesting because we see some beautiful homes. We have a couple listed that 30, 35, 40 days coming up on some of them. And for no good reason. I think they're great houses, but just that price point seems to be the hardest right now. And then I think if you were to list something, in Beckwith or the surrounding areas over $1 million, you might have a fast experience there too. So it just kind of feels like there's this middle, high end middle that is a bit stagnant.
Yeah, I was reading something this morning that the high end market, they're saying probably won't be as impacted by the tariffs just because with lowered rates, and most of those people are, extremely affluent, have the income to support, the fluctuations in the market and the economy. So, those price points in the 1 to 1.5 million range might actually see more activity because those buyers are not as impacted by these changes. The other thing, first time yesterday, I had a client who was actually looking at a property, first time buyer, looking at 1.5 million with a 30-year AM, which, when that came out, we were kind of thinking like, what first time home buyer is going to be buying this $1.5 million property? But they are considering it. Now, they were looking at homes last summer. They lost out on a few that were beautiful homes that were just, they got outbid. But now they're looking at these homes, and I thought to myself, this is exactly what we thought wasn't going to happen. And here we are. People are actually considering that. So, the buyers are there in that price point, which 10 years ago would have been ludicrous to say in Ottawa or surrounding areas. But now that's in that higher end, single family priced home.
Your home is one of your biggest investments, and the team at Big Westboro can help you protect it. Our expert brokers will find the perfect coverage to keep your home and belongings safe. Call 613-239-5792 or visit thebig.ca/Westboro for a free quote. Think big. Protect what matters most. Are you trying to grow your mortgage business? Centum has the tools and support to help you take your business to the next level. Get access to everything from free unlimited custom marketing to daily direct pay. Find out what your business can do with Centum. Learn more at joincentum.ca. Are you thinking of buying or selling a residential property? Relationships are at the heart of every real estate transaction. At Carleton Place Avocats Lawyers, we love to bring residential buyers, sellers, agents, lenders, mortgage brokers, and the law together to close the deal for you. For an effortless client experience that opens doors, call us at 613-744-4488 or visit our website at carletonpoirierlaw.ca. Let's get to the heart of your deal.
Kevin, you had a beautiful home on, I think it's Old Perth Road that I saw some photos yesterday, just stunning, like kind of the dream home. I don't think you have that available, but
I do. Yeah, let me share my screen here.
It looks like a movie set. Like it was.
It's beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. So it's a custom.
Yeah, there it is.
2018. We can go through my listings here. This is a little breakdown. So this home is on the back road, which is really quiet, and it's about 10 minutes outside of Carleton Place. Like from my house, it's just under 10 minutes to get there. It's also very close to Alma. So it's kind of like if you looked at it, on top of the map, it's kind of in between Alma and Carleton Place. It's on just under 3 acres, 2.9 acres. So it's like a serene, beautiful area. I'll scroll through as I can talk. But so custom built, eco-friendly home. Yeah. So many upgrades on the inside. It's a slab on grade. So it's got radiant in-floor heating, but it also has ductwork to sort of support forced air furnace and cooling as well. Hardy board siding on the outside. It's like, concrete hardy board siding. Like just the aesthetic is perfect, right? Like I know the White House black window trend has been, it's very popular and it's been done, whatever, but this is kind of a different look on it and it's beautiful. Let's get inside the house at some point here. So yeah, there we go. So the inside, open concept, polished concrete floors. So what these guys did is they did an addition, I guess 3 years ago now, that I think added some critical space, right? So you see the main floor here, kind of open concept into the kitchen, nice fireplace there. This is the overhead loft you can see down. So yeah, it's got all the key components here, but they added 2 more, like a bedroom, an office, and kind of a dedicated laundry area. And this overhang that it produced outside also, I think, really changed the dynamic and like the price point of the home. It's got a main floor master, primary bedroom, right here, with its own deck, like walkout right there. And they designed it so that the sun rises, like these 2 windows here, it catches it in the morning. So you get hit with the sun first thing. Great way to wake up. The washroom is beautiful. I know, goals, right? So beautiful washroom. I'm just taking you through here. This is the addition, right? So again, that's foundry green on the walls there for those keeping track at home. So we're partial to the green. Really nice aesthetic, very functional space as well. Like for, rural property, it's nice to come in off the side, be able to get your stuff off. So this is very practical, right? And then there's the laundry area. There's a mechanical room back there also. So then they got the extra bedroom and the extra office. So turning it basically from a 3-bedroom to a 4+ office. I think that made a huge difference, right? You go upstairs, you got your loft up here, which is another chill zone. They did beautiful built-ins. That's all custom cabinetry. They're very skilled. And then in here, you got 2 great kids' rooms. I wish my kids' rooms look like this. There also is like an attic storage up top, like the stairs come down. So you can Clark Griswold your way up there with all your, Christmas gear. And then this overhang here is what I was talking about earlier. Look how beautiful that is, right? So this is where you can entertain, hang out. It's got the Edison lights up. The twilight shots kind of show it as well. And it's nearly 1,000 square foot garage. I guess maybe, underselling it. It's like a workshop space, right? So it's prepped for hoist. It's prepped for welders. It's for, the real handyman, right? Or handywoman. I think it's there for that. I think I could get a golf simulator in there. That's about in my Honda Civic. That's all I would probably, but if you're a real person with some toys and stuff, that's perfect for it. So yeah, it's a beautiful home. We're excited about it. And it's 1.275 and I think it's going to be buzzing. Like it's going to, we've got a couple showings already and it's performing really.
I mean, it's a gorgeous property, but even at that, because what you were mentioning before, Paul, like that price point of 1.275, like 10 years ago, you never would have thought that a rural property like that would be garnering like the attention at that price point, right? Kind of shows the kind of migration to kind of the valley to like rural properties that have space that are really well done and not just kind of your prototypical farmhouse kind of thing, right? When people think of rural, they're thinking in a lot of cases you're thinking like a farmhouse. And that's not the case. It's a gorgeous property.
I think our feedback will be that the street is great because it's a bit quieter. We had one for sale on Ramsey Concession 8. And we had 51 showings on it, like 51 people in the 9s. And it was, the feedback was that it was a very busy road. That was one of the feedback points. Whereas this one, I think will be the opposite of that. Like it is serene, it is peaceful. It's kind of a Goldilocks amount of acreage, right? It's, just enough that you feel like you've got, some space, some privacy, but it's not, 10, 20 acres to maintain, right? So it's that nice sweet spot that people are looking for. And for you guys, for your perspective, we're not into hobby farm financing or anything complicated, right? It's,
no farm animals on there till after closing, please.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's also one thing we saw during COVID is a lot of people kind of change the value of being close to the city to being like having that acreage, having that yard, having a place for the kids to play like outside. Like it kind of seemed like the mentality shifted from, it was 2 things. One, internally, it went from open concept. That one's still very open concept. I'm still a fan of that. But I think a lot of the new builds started kind of making smaller kind of segmented rooms, right, in their designs because of the pandemic.
We're starting to see that. Yeah, we're starting to see like on the model that we like from Pat Homes, there's like a dedicated office on the main floor, right? Like it's got its own space. Like it's open concept, but there also are like different kind of ante rooms, if you will, right? Like the dining room's up to the side a little bit, and then there's an office. So you've got this like kind of great room that is open concept, but there's also different zones. And I often hear that from like buyers now. They're like, I love the 80s house that I grew up, or the 90s house that my parents had, so there might be this kind of return anyway to those desired space. I think it's like somewhere in the middle that people will land, right? Because, same in the same breath, we're like, well, what if we just knock down this wall, right? So
Yeah.
at some plan, I think it's like nice to have some areas be open concept, but if you can find space to have some other areas, I think it's helpful as well.
Yeah, the one thing I was reading this morning, talking about qualifying for those types of properties. You mentioned briefly in your description about, I think it was prior to that property, but saying that the days on market now is just over 30, and we were saying in January it was at 42 days. So I'm interested. The February stats should probably be out this week, I would guess, maybe early next week. But I'm very interested to see that days on market and number of listings, because the number of listings has to be up maybe 10%. I don't know, year over year. You might have a better guess, Kevin, but I would assume it's got to be a pretty large increase in listings.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the averages right now. So average on market right now, days on market for Carleton Place is 42, with 33 being the median days. And then on sales, we're at 37 days for detached and 38 days for townhomes. So just under that 42 mark, over the 30 range. But I think when the February stats come out, I think it'll be a big inventory influx. I think that'll be the months on market will be up for sure.
So here's something I saw this morning that I thought would be interesting for people to know. Here's how much you need to earn to buy a home in Ottawa. So it says the annual income, this is by CTV News, the annual income required to buy a home in Ottawa increased $790 in January as homes priced and increased in Ottawa and across Canada. The new report from RateHub, an online mortgage brokerage service, shows the average income required to buy a home in Ottawa was $141,420 in January, up from $140,630 in December. According to the report, the average home price in Ottawa increased from $645,800 in December to $649,900 in January, so a mild increase. It says RateHub looks at the income required to purchase a new home in Ottawa with a mortgage rate of 4.7% and a stress test of 6.7%. So we talk about this often, but when we're qualifying applicants for their mortgage, we're looking at the contract rate being, in this case, 4.7, much lower now, plus 2%. So we kind of have to add to that, and that's kind of what they call the stress test to ensure that there's a buffer there. So if rates do go up, that people can still qualify. And, we were kind of, when this first came out, I guess it would have been maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, maybe even more than that. We were kind of thinking like, what? Rates are never going to go up 2%, and then they went up 4%. So definitely it ended up being worth its weight in gold. But now, again, in a lowering rate environment, it kind of seems like a bit excessive, but still, I think, for now, it's a good safety net to have. It says the income is based on a mortgage with a 20% down payment and a 25-year amortization. So that's where that 4.7 came in. Also very important, we talk about this, not all rates are created equal. We say this all the time, but when you're assessing rates, even looking at those, RateHub or Rate Guru or whatever these websites are that are fly by night, oftentimes, not that RateHub is fly by night, but more so the rates that they show are not necessarily available to you specifically as the home buyer. So things like that, like down payment, whether it's being insured or not. So if you have less than 20%, over 20%, and then it kind of falls into other buckets, 20 to 25%, 25 to 30, 30 to 35. All of these different categories have different rates associated with them. So Dave and I, who deal with, 40 plus different lenders, they all have, a matrix of rates, let's say, 9 to 10 rates each. So we're looking at, 400 to 500 different rates for each individual client. So it's really important to narrow the scope on that before you just go online and say, oh, well, I saw 399. That's what I want. It's like, well, we're refinancing or we're doing this or we're doing that. Like there's a lot of factors that go into that rate discussion. So important to speak to your mortgage expert and your mortgage advisor to figure out, what rate's available to you and also how that rate impacts your qualifying when you are out shopping with Kevin or whoever your real estate agent is. 'Cause being uninformed, I think right now we're in an environment where as a buyer, you do have the ability to, put in your conditions. You can be a bit more picky in what homes you're looking at, make sure you're getting the right product. But we've also seen, and we've talked about this the last few weeks, the homes that are priced properly, that show really well, like you need to have your ducks in a row because there is going to be a lot of interest and you're going to have all the buyers eyeing that same property and wanting to get in on it. So the more you know, the better before you go out shopping.
Never been on Rate Guru. I've never been on Rate Guru before.
I just made that one up. I don't even know if that's a thing, but
you should register it.
It sounds like it's good.
Yeah. .com.
Yeah. Whoever owns it's going to get a lot of hits there from this conversation. Yeah. So Kevin, what do you see? You know, we like to we're going into the spring market now. The tariffs take effect today. It looks like rates are going to decrease. What's kind of your vision over the next, say, 6 months? Like, where do you see things going in Ottawa and kind of the Valley?
I think I feel the same way. I think my term for this year would have been balance in terms of like activity. Again, prices are so hard to predict. Obviously, if we could do that, we'd be trillionaires. But in terms of just like, we've got buyers that we're onboarding now that have probably been on the sidelines for the last 2 years, right? Maybe they never experienced the COVID world. They just were not buyers in that moment, or maybe they did and they felt like they were spurned, or who knows what iteration they were in the last couple of years, but they're emerging, right? They're coming out, they're having conversations with you guys, getting qualified, getting pre-approved, and whether they're coming out of a rental into their first home, or they're just trying to do something within their current, equity position. I think they're coming out. So I think we'll continue to see balanced activity. I don't know if that's a good prediction or not, or I guess my prediction is the increased number of transactions. To put a prediction on the poly market here, I'd say we'll see more transactions in 2025. Prices, who knows if they'll increase or if they'll sort of remain, on that normal trajectory that we see in our Ottawa and surrounding market. But I think transactions will be my pitch, that, we'll increase the number of activity, the number of people that are engaging in real estate related activities. And I think that would have been what I would have said in January. And I think, obviously there's a lot going on geopolitically right now, obviously. So, I mean, I don't know how that will impact everything, but I still think we'll see an increased number of transactions, and hopefully everyone, is able to do it in a manner that feels, eyes wide open and with lots of due diligence on their end.
So, Kevin, I have to assume every single resident in Carleton Place will be listening to this. So I know you had a few things.
It's mandatory.
Yeah. So where can people find you, and what's happening over the next couple months in your world? Yeah, I know you got a lot of projects on the go.
Things on the go. So firstly, we'll be at CP Canadians playoff games coming up here, I think, pretty soon, right? So Fred Page Cup, right? So we're working on that. That gets to get all the words right there. Secondly, we do a run club every Saturday morning. I got to plug my run club. It's called the Riverside Trail Trotters, RTT. So it's a casual 5K every Saturday morning. And we run on Foundry, and it's come any pace. It's a there and back. So you don't even have to run the whole distance if you don't want to. We run there, we run back, we pick up everybody on the way back, and we have coffee afterwards. So it's
get in the Uber halfway, get
very
back.
chill. Yeah. What does Kramer do? Whatever. But yeah. So there's, so we do the Riverside Trail Trotters, and we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary on March 22nd. It'll be 1 year of running basically every Saturday. I don't think we've taken a single week off. So that's coming up. Also, we are, further the running theme, we are planning I should say the inaugurals. They're having other races, but we're planning a marathon race day in Carleton Place. We have a marathon distance, a 10K and a 5K. It's going to be on October 25th, 2025, Saturday. So we can have drinks after, right? These Sunday races are like the worst, right? Like, what are we doing this for? So Saturday, it's going to be at the Junction Park downtown. You can go to racearoundtheplace.com. Got the .com there, wasn't taken. And you can give us your email address, and we'll send out registration info as soon as we have it. We're still kind of getting everything organized. There's a lot of logistics, as you can imagine here. So we've volunteered one of our buddies, Nick, to be the race day manager. He's former military, and I think he's okay with it. We started putting him down on official forums, so that's good. So probably Nick Poligato is the captain of the day, and then it's my other buddies that own Stalwart Brewing and Kirk Orthodontist that we're gonna plan this together, and we're looking forward to a good day. So that'll be the Race Around the Place, October 25th. That's Paul Stevenson impression. What else do I got? That's our Wesley Crawford. We're excited that I'd be on YouTube today, so I had to mention that. They've got lots of Sigma, tons of Riz, and that's it. That's it for me.
Well, we can't forget Foundry. We can't forget the old little coffee shop, the old coffee baron.
You will find me at Foundry. Found at Foundry. I'm upstairs right now in one of our actually for lease little offices that we have for rent by the month. So we have a collective upstairs where we have co-working space so you can get even by the day, right? So if your internet's out for the day, I should mention, I'd be remiss, on that road property, there is bell fiber available to the road, a conduit running on the inside of the home, and there's a steel roof. I think those are things that my clients listen, they'll be bad that I didn't mention. So those are the great internet things. But if, for example, your internet's down, you can come and use our space upstairs at the Foundry. And if you need more of a dedicated office, we have that as well, plus a boardroom. And Katie and I are usually kicking around. So if you want to come in, just walk upstairs like you own the place and come say hi.
Kevin, I feel like for the race, you should have gone with Race Guru. You know, we could have had the Rate Guru and the Race Guru, you know?
.com. Yeah, that's not bad. We'll have to see. Maybe you can start an apparel brand.
Yeah. So I do have some mood boosts today, Kevin, before you go. So I'm gonna slide into those quickly before we head out. So I have 3. And number 1, why are hairdressers never late for work? They know all the shortcuts.
Okay. Like it.
Yeah. Shout out to the town barber.
The town barber. Our guys at town barber.
Also partnered with Founder. Yeah. Number 2, how do snails fight? They slug it out. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, this is for your boys, Kevin, these jokes. Number 3, the Energizer Bunny was arrested on a charge of battery. Leave it a high one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Kevin, the King of the Valley, Kevin Cosgrove. Thanks for tuning in. Cosgrove Group, check them out. David, thanks as always. I'll see you tomorrow. Dave and I are off to our national conference tomorrow in Toronto, and looking forward to seeing everyone there. And thanks as always to our amazing sponsors, Guertin Poirier, Avocat Lawyers, Big Insurance in Westboro, and of course, Centum. Thank you all. Thank you to listening. Thank you to our listeners for listening. And we'll be back next week. Have an awesome week, everyone.
Cheers.